one time we had a German Catholic priest. We had a big Catholic church, school, the whole nine.
Because it's going to be a panel.
And we were speakers. This is another town, but anyway, much more from
Good afternoon. This is Occupier Keelan coming to you live from the Des Moines Public Library, the main branch. Stories from a diverse continent, insights from African community leaders in Iowa. This is a public talk and discussion from Iowa International Center Dialogue Series. I wanted to come stream this so that it can be an archive for future views by anyone at a later date. The speaker is Nancy Mwirozi, Pastor Elijah Willie Nsuyando, and Reverend Francis Nyawelo Chan. They are the others on the panel. And they will talk about different things from Africa, which, as the title says, it's a very diverse continent. Just waiting for setup to be complete and the speakers to come forward. And this stream is also dedicated to a good online friend, Jen Bear, who died a couple days ago over the weekend from a heart attack, and he will be greatly missed in the live stream community. Hello. Let me kick this under here. There. I just, excuse me. Yeah, go ahead. A little background about the speakers. Nancy Mwirozi is an immigrant from Kenya, has dedicated herself personally and professionally to helping refugee families have a positive and successful relocation experience in Iowa. And Pastor Elijah Nsuyando, known as Pastor Willie, is a refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Along with his family, he migrated from Central Africa to Iowa. He is a pastor of the Living Water Evangelical Church in Des Moines. They serve the immigrant population there. And the Reverend Francis Nyawelo Chan is a Roman Catholic Diocese of Des Moines, originally from East Africa, South Sudan. And he came as a refugee 15 years ago. And he works for the Bureau of Refugee Services as a case manager and refugee specialist. So all three of these people are immigrants themselves, and they've chosen to put their unique experience to work for other immigrants. And two of them have come here, have taken their places. And there is the third.
Well, welcome everyone. We were concerned that the cold weather was going to keep the attendance down, but clearly this is a topic of great interest to all of us and to all of you. So thank you so much for coming to the Iowa International Center Dialogue. This is our monthly dialogue, the first Tuesday of the month. My name is Judy Conlon. I'm the director of the Iowa International Center, and I want to let you know what we're doing the next couple of months so that you can put it on your calendar. Next month, in February, we're going to have Touring Latin American through Dance, and we will have we'll have a lesson about dance, and not only dance, but a variety of dances, salsa, cha-cha, the Argentine tango, how really dance builds cultural understanding around the world. And we're very, very pleased that the Salsa Des Moines people will be featuring history, perspective, and some lessons if you want them, or at least a demonstration of some of the different dances. So we're looking forward to that. That will be Tuesday, February 3. And then we have a slight change in dates for March. It will be Wednesday, March 4, and the reason is our presenter, Ashley, with the Forest Avenue Library. I don't know how many of you participate in conversations on Tuesday between 12:30 and 1:30 at the Forest Avenue Library. But it's a wonderful opportunity for people who want to practice their English to come, and those of us who want to volunteer and practice with them to come. So you'll hear more about that, but necessarily it needs to be on a Wednesday here at the library, and you'll learn more about those conversations. Today, we are really, really very, very privileged to have three outstanding representatives of various countries in Africa. I don't want to spend a lot of time introducing them, but I want to say a little bit of something. Nancy Muravutsky, and I'm learning my pronunciation in African languages, and that I do not typically pronounce, and we do not typically use all of their vowels and their consonants. Nancy, there was a wonderful article, Nancy, on you in the Des Moines Register last Friday. If you haven't had a chance to read it, Lee Root did this piece. Nancy's an immigrant from Kenya. She's personally provided a lot of her own commitment and time and volunteer time to helping refugee families. And she'll talk a little bit about that today. And Pastor, he's given me his pronunciation. I love this, Ziando. We don't have a sound, we should have one. Pastor Billy is a refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's the pastor with Living Water Evangelical Free Church in Des Moines, and he assists new African migrants coming to Des Moines. He'll talk about that. And Reverend Francis Chen is with the Roman Catholic Diocese. He's still, and has been for the last almost 15 years, with the Bureau of Refugee Services. Please join me in welcoming this wonderful panel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. We're honored to be here. My apologies, I was running a little late because I have a daughter who's sick and she's home and I had to get a babysitter, so I apologize about that. Before I introduce myself, thank you for that introduction. Actually, my name is Nancy Muravutsky, without the K. See. But let me introduce my guests first, and then I will say a little bit more about myself, and they will tell you their names again and how they came to this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to be here and have to talk and share about African and our experience in Des Moines. My name is Pastor William Siando, and thank you very much for practicing the pronunciation of the name. That was so good. So I'm as a founder and as a senior pastor of the Living Water Evangelical Free Church in Des Moines, and I'm involved in helping so many refugees, especially from Central Africa, who decide to have Des Moines as their home. Thank you very much.
Seems it has become a tradition of standing up. My name is Francis Shan, and I look very strange name. It's like a Chinese name, but I look different. I'm not a Chinese. The name Shan is a specific name given to the twin, according to my custom, or from the country where I come from, East Africa. I am a refugee, or I came as a refugee from South Sudan, which is the newest country. Many of you know that is the country number 193 in United Nations. I came here as a refugee some years back, 16 years now, with my young family at the time. It's become larger family now. I'm a Roman Catholic deacon with the Diocese of Des Moines. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I guess we'll start with what's been happening in the news lately, Ebola, right? So the other day I was invited to speak with I think it's the Department of CDC, it's at the whole county, right? And they had just quarantined these people who just traveled from Liberia. And this woman, she's about 72. She was complaining. She was like, "Oh, why did you have to quarantine me?" And we were trying to explain to her because of she had just recently come from Liberia. But she didn't understand it because she was like, "Whoa," because they kept on telling her, it's because you eat bushmeat that you got Ebola. And she's like, "I grew up eating bushmeat, so you can't tell me I have Ebola, right?" So anyways, besides that lady, I went to another meeting. And we're trying to educate people about a little bit about Ebola, the little that I know. I don't know much, but based on what I'm understanding, right? And this person said, "Oh, I want to discuss the African disease." And I said, "What do you mean African disease?" There's always this misconception that Africa is a country, when actually Africa, is a planet. So most of the time when we introduce ourselves as Africans, somebody will ask you something about a different part of Africa that you don't know. So I came up with some interesting ways of discussing this, because I don't really want to dwell too much on this, but just a basic map. They call this like the true size of Africa. So Africa is really huge. If you look at this map, United States fits in there, China fits in there, Eastern Europe fits in there, use France, Spain, and India actually fits in there. So if you really look at it, most people just think Africa is just like the United States, the little piece. But it's very diverse. So what is practiced, like this is the southern part where South Africa is. What happens in South Africa and what happens in the north, completely different. Sometimes in the news you see they talk about Egypt, and then they say it's in the Middle East. Actually, Egypt is in Africa, right? So that's another misconception a lot of people don't realize. So what happens in Africa is this. We have very, very diverse cultures, and what happens on the east, we come from the east part. He's from central. We come towards this end, from this end. What happens this end and that end is totally different. We don't, sometimes even, it's like a new culture to us. What happens on the northern side, it's more Muslim. If you actually went there, you'd be like, whoa, are you sure we're in the right continent? And that's why when there was a lot of fighting in Libya, I think it was about 2 years or so ago, everybody kept on saying that is Middle East, but really, Libya is also in Africa. So, and then I kind of thought this was kind of cute. I wanted to come up with a fancy map, but I thought an 11-year-old would explain it better when it came to Ebola. This is a simple map. And he just says, this is the map of Africa. So when everybody was thinking it was an African disease, or most people were saying it was an African disease, it wasn't everywhere. It was just on the little part of Africa, and it's right where you see the green and the red. So my understanding based on what I am learning...
Well, you can use my stick.
Oh, I can use
Yeah, have a pointer.
So I can point it. So
Yeah.
There was a story recently in Des Moines about, I think, somebody who has gone to Uganda. Uganda is like right about here. And they were being told that they needed to be quarantined, and they're like, no, because really, the distance between here and here, even from here to Texas or to New York is still, it's great. The distance is like you're traveling
would be
like
several
the whole
thousand
of the
miles.
United States plus. Remember the other map, the little India? So it's hard for Ebola to travel this way. Based on what I understood from the CDC, they assume that because way back in the day we had Ebola in Congo, I because of a bat traveled, I guess that's what they say, carried the disease all the way to West Africa. And just recently, I think as of last week, they said something about it was actually transmitted through a child. But it's not because the child ate the meat. I guess something else, but it wasn't because they ate the meat, because that was our understanding from the beginning. But anyway, so if somebody tells you, hey, you know, the Ebola, what's going on, just send them this map. I think it's very cute. It just puts them, it tells them, you know. So I think I've said a little bit about that. So, and then sometimes we always have in the news the story of the true Africa. What you see in the news is not really what we see as we grew up. We saw a very beautiful continent. This is, I'm not sure you can see it there, but there's a lot of green here. This is a place in Kenya. Can you guys see? I think
The lights are too much.
Africa is very beautiful. I was talking, I usually go to the schools and I talk to the schools about African culture. And we were having an argument with this little girl. I think she's about 13. And she kept on saying, oh, you know, Africa is this, everybody in Africa is poor. And I'm like, no, this is what this is what you see. So I don't know if you can see the difference.
Yeah, light coming from the door. If the door is closed, that would probably help.
Yeah. Okay, at least you can see a little bit. If not, I can send you a picture. It's very beautiful. That's what we grew up seeing. This is actually a place in Somali. Imagine that. When you see the news Somali, you just think those people fighting each other, but this is some place in Somali. This is, of course, Egypt. And that happens to be somewhere in South Africa. Isn't that beautiful? Because what we see on TV is just the usual, you know, like, and yes, we do have jungles, but sometimes we find ourselves explaining to people if we actually live around a jungle, we don't. And then this is somewhere in Algeria. Algeria is also part of Africa. This is actually in central part of Africa. Can anybody guess a little bit where that would be? It's so beautiful. Somewhere in Central Africa. And that is Rwanda. If you remember the history of Rwanda and Burundi, unfortunately, when there was a lot of violence, actually now Rwanda is becoming one of the places to travel to when you go to Africa. There's a lot of investments going on in Rwanda. Education is just kicking, and especially when it comes to technology too. And this is just a picture of a random kid that I picked. I usually like looking at this picture because when I go out to talk to kids in school and I remind them, look at that, you can see a smile. When you see that, don't just think poor, think happiness. These kids are very happy. I have another picture here. You can't really see, but there are boys who are playing soccer. Lately, I have been into technology. What I'm realizing is that these kids are being given an opportunity that most kids here don't get. They get to explore their mind. They get to go out and play with kids. And they just get to be whoever. When we grew up, and Pastor Willie and Reverend Francis will tell you this, in the villages, we didn't have soccer balls. Do you know what we used to do? We would take plastic, you know the plastic bag when you go to the grocery store and you buy the paper plastic? We would take plastic and we would drop it and drop it and drop it.
Or the sock, and you put some clothes inside and then.
Yes.
To give it some weight.
To give it some weight. And that was our soccer ball. Imagine that. And there's still kids still today who still do that. So those are the beautiful memories, but when you think about it, it worked, right? In this year, you call it innovation, right? So this is another beautiful picture. Actually, this, I do a magazine once in a while, and this is one of the pictures that we took. This is one of my models, and back there, it's called a thorn tree. Those trees pretty much in most parts of Africa, and I come from a place where we have a lot of giraffes. That's what they pretty much eat, the trees. They look kind of like tall and bony. And then this people from Africa. This is a group in South Africa. Can you check the beadwork? It's not pretty. And the diversity of the women. And this, another beautiful beadwork. This is from Kenya. If you remember the map, South Africa is way on the south. We're way up on the east. I come from Kenya. Those women are from Kenya. And these are beautiful women from Ghana. I just wanted you to see the different diverse culture. Even though it's different, you can kind of tell, like with the big words, they're different, but we're still the same people. We do celebrate culture. This is, it was during a wedding. And this is a beautiful woman from Nigeria. And I think that's an actor somewhere in Africa, in the Libya or Tunisia. I think it's from Tunisia. And then this guy here, this guy also is an African. So when you really look at who is African, it could be anyone. It could be me, it could be this guy. We have one very prominent person in Des Moines who actually is an African native. His name is Suku Radia, if you know Suku, originally from Uganda, educated in Kenya. So we're here to discuss just the diversity of our people, and also to tell you a little bit of the people that we have here in Des Moines. In Des Moines, we have close to 15,000 Africans, and that is a number that most of the time it's not discussed. We have Sudanese, based on a study that was actually done at University of Northern Iowa. It's estimated that just in Des Moines alone, we have about 8,000 Sudanese. And based on the Liberian Association, it's estimated they have about 3,000, and that number is growing. Most of them came here as first generation. They were just migrated here, and we're having second immigrants that are coming in because they're moving from different cities.
By this time, it will be slash Sudanese and Southern Sudanese.
Yes, by now, because we have Southern Sudan, so I would just still consider the Sudanese, right? And then we have the Somalis. The Somalis, this is a recent number. This is really growing because most of them are migrating from Minnesota to the Then we do have also the population from Burundi, Congo, Eritrea, Sierra Leone. We have some Nigerians, Kenyans, and so many others in the city. Sometimes those numbers, you don't get to see them because in the state of Iowa, we are also considered as African Americans. So our numbers will be censored in that. And most spoken languages that we have in the city, number one would be Arabic. Then we have Swahili. Then we have Somali. We have Kunama or Tigrinya. I think those are
spoken in Ethiopia and Eritrea.
Yes, so that's spoken in mostly that. We have Kirundi, which I didn't list that much because most of them would actually speak Swahili. And we also have Kibembe, which is becoming very popular right now. Pastor Willie speaks Kibembe. So before we go back to discuss other things, I just wanted Pastor Willie and Francis to tell you a little bit of how they came to this country and why they came to this country.
Is it okay? I will be seated.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a little bit. I can see the picture also because you will be playing some picture there. Possible, I would like really to send my sincere appreciation to the people of the United States, and in particular, the great states of Iowa, who have given me back my dignity when I came to this country. 15 years ago, I did not know myself where I was headed. But thank goodness for the people of goodwill who have given me an opportunity to come to this beautiful city of Des Moines. I was not aware where I'm going to. I was given a ticket and a little bag written on it, IOM, International Immigration something. And then I met somebody at the airport. I think they did look at my bio and they found out that I was a Catholic by faith and a great woman of faith by her name, Sister Shear, Patricia Shear, met me at the airport, and she introduced me to my second home, the church. And from that time, I did build up a good relationship with her. After today, I think she's like 84 years old. When I came to Des Moines, I was a single father with the 4 beautiful daughters who lost their mother in a childbirth before I come to this country, leaving me 6 years old girl, 3 years old girl, and 2 years old girl, and then 9 months when I came. Thank goodness, 3 of them today are in college at Iowa State University. I came with a little education, but I do not know what really Western world have for me. The first time when I came, I was told that you will be living at the public assistance. And I said, what public assistance mean? Oh yeah, the government will take care of you, especially when you are a single father. And I said, well, there is a way that one can work. They said, yeah, for sure, you can work. But who will take care of the children? Well, I was taking care of them and I was working. There is any way I can do that. And they did help me. They said, yes, you can do that. Got a job as an office assistant. Do help them with typing what they want, although I did not have any clue what the computer means. I came with a master's degree, but do not know how to use computer. Because of that, my insisting that I would like to work, I was introduced to the computer, how to use computer. And then the opportunity came up that they were looking for somebody who can work with a resettlement agency in the state of Iowa, somebody who could speak Arabic. I speak Arabic and write Arabic better than English with some of my other local languages. Went through the interview. We were 28 who were competing on the job and was able to get that job. That job gave me an opportunity to give back what has been given to me. Part of my job was meeting every single refugee who is coming to this country, starting at the airport, after when I prepare their apartment where they will be living, and after that it start next day by taking them to Social Security office, help them to apply for the Social Security number, which is they were not aware of, and then the journey is start with these folks who are coming to Iowa. Those people, they brought something with them, including myself. Do you know what have I brought to this country? It's looking straight. How do I dress? Well, some will say that he's having weapons in his hand. Give me my stick, please. Because I can use it at any time now if the violence interrupts here. But I will not be using it. I brought my culture with me. That culture is not only the dress I have, it's the way we have been brought up. In our culture, a man his age cannot be called by his name. Even if I do not know him, who is he? A lady in her age cannot be called by her name, even if I do not know where does she come from. If it is a little girl, she will call her auntie. If it's a young man, he will call you uncle. If he knows the name of one of your children, he will be calling you by your son or your daughter name. That's in the traditions, that's in the culture.
Father of so-so, mother of so-so.
Right. If I pass by anybody that whom I do not know, I must give a respect to that person. One of those respect is making sure that you greet that person and ask if there is anything that you could do for them, especially when they are elderly. We came to this country with nothing in a term of materials, but we came with love of one another, the love of humanity, regardless of how they look, which language do they speak, it doesn't matter. This state of Iowa has become a home of many different nationalities. And if I could take you back a little bit to my second home, church, where I minister on Saturday and Sunday, we have several different nationalities. I've worked 7 different nationalities. And please, if there is any way that you could play the map of Africa. Oh, this is wonderful of that. My first time to meet this man who is from Gambia, isn't it, or Senegal? Senegal. It was 2 years ago when an African young scientist was given an award by the World Food Prize here in Des Moines, Iowa. He used to be the head of the Department of Health here. I learned that he moved to Wisconsin for the better job. If you could put that in this. I'm looking for the map of Africa.
Okay.
The first slide.
Thank you. As Nancy explained, I think I and her, we come from East Africa, somewhere here, but today, in the state of Iowa, we get most of the African nationals who are here in Des Moines, particularly East Africa, West Africa, and then very few, I think, from South Africa who came here as an immigrants, because the majority we have are the refugees from East Africa particularly, and then West. We brought something with us also. Of course, nobody, although it has been said that not only the food man can rely on, but food it is important too. We must eat so that we can think well when we eat food. And some of you may remember what a year ago or 2 years ago, when one of the very famous guy with the TV came here, who does food things, and he came here, and he kept coming back every year to test an African food here in Des Moines. If it is a Kenyan food, chapati.
That's actually Indian food.
That is the most delicious food. It has something to do with Indians, because they spend some good time with Indians too.
The name of the program he's talking about, it's called Bazaar Food.
Andrew Zimmern.
Andrews. He was actually here. Let me go ahead.
By the way, that's my sister-in-law.
That's his
and she lives in Kenya. This is the part of what we have brought. Look at this young woman. Look at the beads here. And that's what I ate the food one day, which is very delicious. And the food we ate is come from many different backgrounds.
That's Andrew Zimmern on the left.
It was yes, that's the guy who came here in Des Moines. I don't know his name.
Andrew Zimmern.
Okay, but he did a wonderful job when he came here, and he really liked that the food that the Africans has here in the town.
Can you explain them that food? Because he ate that all of that.
Oh yes, this is commonia. They call it commonia. And commonia, it is inside, because most of our people like goat or lamb. So this one here, especially on this side here. Yes, his stomach. And the way they cook it, it looks strange before they cook it. But if you get it's been cooked ready and you test it, you will come back the next day. It's one of the delicious food, and that is why I think the man kept coming back to Des Moines. We came here also, as I said in the beginning, with dressed, which is give us our Pacific personality, like the way I dressed. A man in my age, I'm only 48, but it is, if I am still back home there, I must have something to rely on. They stay, and it can be used in many different ways. An old man, because glasses, or whereas they can, the medical glasses that they can wear, but most of the time the young people offer their help, and they can hold this stick, and then they can lead you wherever you want to go to when you become an old man. So you have something to do with helping one another. One of the tradition also for us, in order to keep our personality in this country, is that every year on the 4th of July, the majority of most of the refugees, I don't know what other nationalities, but the group I come from, they are called Luo or Sholo. In every year, we come together in one state to practice our culture, dancing, singing, eating together, and it has something to do with the July 4th, because that is the most important day to us, although we were not born here, but we see it as a symbol of freedom, symbol of the dignity of the human being. That is why the group I come from has chosen that day, that we could come together. Last year it was in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm sure this year it will be in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm talking here about over 3,000 or 4,000 people coming together one time a year on the 4th of July. At the end, I would like to say again, you Iowans, I do love you. Thank you for the opportunity.
So I think Francis forgot that actually this, when I watched the show, this was not cooked. It was the intestines and it was raw. So he ate it with that. And the lady who makes this, she's just absolutely nice. Her name is Sarah. She's also from Sudan. So I'm going to have Pastor Willie introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he does and talk about the challenges we have in the city.
As I introduce myself to you at the beginning, my name is Wilonja Msiando and Iko Phi Willie. I'm from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, former Zaire. The Congo, it's right here. It's a bigger country in Central Africa. We usually call Congo as the heart of Africa because we are right at the center of Africa. And this is the Central Africa. And Nancy is from somewhere here, Kenya, Uganda one. This is East Africa. And down here we have Southern Africa. And up here we have North Africa, and then we have West Africa. So when we're talking about Ebola, it's in West Africa. So that's how Africa is divided. My country is the third biggest country in Africa after Sudan right here, and Algeria. So I came to this country, first of all, because of the war in my country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The war broke out in my country in 1996. Up to now, that war has taken lives away of 6 million people right now. From 1996 up to now, 6 million people have died because of that war. So when the war broke out, we were facing so much insecurity problems, and that 4 years later, after hiding ourselves in the bush and under the rock and several dangerous areas, you don't know what you're gonna sleep with, maybe on top of snake and things like that. So I had a fear about my life, the life of my wife, and the life of my children. So after years, after the war broke out, I decided to run away from my country. Because when there is smoke, only one solution is to run away. So I decided to run away. Now, I went from my country, then I crossed Tanzania, and I went all the way to Mozambique. It's right here. I lived in Mozambique for 5 years as a refugee. I was teaching there. I got the opportunity to teach. I started teaching in the refugee camp, and then Mozambican government hired me as a math and a physics teacher. So I was working there and also working, doing the work of God as a church planter. I planted in Mozambique 29 churches in 5 years. But life in a refugee camp in Mozambique was not easy as well. That's why I was relocated to the mall. As Brother Francis said, when you are coming from a refugee camp and you are going somewhere, you go somewhere you don't know. They just give you a ticket, then they tell you go. So wherever you go, at the airport, there is someone always who will help you. They communicate and they make the system in place in order to help the people. At each single airport, you will meet someone who will show you the way, the gate, and what to do, until you reach at your destination. So I came here through Russell Refugee Services, and I'm really happy to be in this wonderful country, because we have so much peace in this country, and kids are getting good education, and I'm sure that their life will be much better than the way they were living back in Africa. When I came here, as I said, I was received by Russell Refugee Services, but 3 months later, they said we can start living on our own. With the struggle of language barrier, with the struggle of culture, different culture, everything is different, environment different, most of things are different. It was not easy for me to adjust myself to this neighborhood. So I struggled. After 3 months, you can now live on your own. I didn't know language. So I came here, that was a fall of 2005. I couldn't speak English. So three months, you live on your own. it was really very hard. We appreciate the way we were received, but would like the Zimmern agencies to help people a little bit more, some days, to help them how to live in it, to adjust themselves to this neighborhood. So when I struggled that way, my life became better when I met a friend called Nadia Jequis at the Des Moines University Clinic. I took my sons there for shot, and it was snowing, and I got a ride from visiting the nurse services. The driver left us there, and he went somewhere. He said, okay, when you are done, give us a call. When we were done, we gave him a call, but he was struggling also with snow. So one of the lady came in to see the doctor, and she saw us at the waiting area. Then she went out. When she went out, she thought, those people have been there for a while. Maybe they're having problem. She came back and said, can I help you? Then we said, yes. So she gave us a ride back home. And that's when we started friendship. She took us to the Johnson Evangelical Free Church, and that's where I had the contact with the E-Free Church. So in 2007, 2 years after I came here, we started receiving more refugees from Central Africa, and I was now established. Then I decided to help my fellow refugees when they come, so that they cannot suffer the same way we suffer. We had a transportation, so we had to help them shopping, enroll kids in school, teach ESL, doing a lot of stuff. Because some people come from refugee camps, they never see most of items here. I remember one family that came, and so the guest worker thought maybe they knew everything, and they were left in the apartment. They had some food in the refrigerator, and the lady had to cook. But she didn't know that she could turn water on from the sink. So she went in the bathroom, she saw water in there. She said, oh, is this water enough for me to cook? So she went down the stairs in the basement. There was another bathroom with little water also in it. So she started scooping that water, and she cooked food. Then the husband said, but this food is so little. How are we going to feed this big family? Then the lady said, yeah, because we don't have enough water. I scooped all water that we had. Then the husband said, what? You didn't see someone? Said, yes. Because the husband was sleeping when the lady was cooking. But now they were eating. But then the lady went to show the husband where she scooped the water from. But toilet. Then the husband said, oh, this is the toilet.
Oh, oops.
So all those things are very hard that the refugees need really help them, teach them. This is how the refrigerator works. This is how the land mower works. This is how snow blower works. So many things. This is how you flush the toilet. This is how you can take shower. So we decided to start helping our people so that they cannot suffer the same way we suffered. And we help with English as a second language, ESL. We help with after-school tutoring for our kids. We help with computer literacy, and the nurse is one of involved with our kids, helping them about coding. We help with employment training and assimilation mentoring, because our people, when they come here, they don't know how to compete for jobs. They don't know how to sell themselves for jobs. They don't know even how to dress for an interview. So we have to teach them about how they can be successful with their employment. We help our people with conflict resolution and peace building. We help with program where we can help our young people to avoid being involved in drug and alcohol. We help people or our youth to avoid the crime and substance abuse. So we do a lot to help our refugees. We work also on housing. Since I came to this country, until now, I helped 33 families to get apartments and 9 different families to get into their permanent homes. So all those are the programs that we do. We brought also a lot of stuff in this country, as Brother Francis said, beside the food and the culture and the traditions and the customs and the languages. We brought also a workforce to this country. And we brought also our faith and belief. In Des Moines, we have 16 churches led by people from Africa. But we are still also struggling. Our people usually struggle with so many things, as I said, and that's why we are here to help them overcome all those struggles. People struggle with the law. People struggle with employment because back home it's easy for you to miss a job one day and go next day, tell your supervisor or your manager, oh, I was sick, but you didn't call. You didn't send any letter. But here, even if you are planning to be out of work one month or 6 months, you need to tell your supervisor ahead of time. But back home, no. I will stay home with my family issue. Then next day I will tell my manager, you know, I had a family problems. But here you do that, they fire you, you are fired. So we need our people to know all those small things. And people struggle with weather. Central Africa, it's always warm. When you come here with the snow, it's hard. Sometimes people don't know how to wear appropriately. So we have to teach people and help them how they can be successful in this wonderful country, and especially in this state of Iowa. I love Iowa, and people usually ask me, are you going back to Africa? I usually say, yes, for visit, but not to go and live there anymore. So I like to live here. But also we started Congo Progress, which is an organization that helps our refugees and people who are being raped in Congo, and the orphans and displaced people, so we can give it back to our people. So here we help the people through the Living Water Evangelical Free Church, and then back home we help our people through Congo Progress. So that in summary, what I can share about how I came to this country and how we are helping our people to be successful in this country. We help each individual we work with to be a productive member of the community and support themselves and support their families and the community. Thank you very much.
So I'm just going to go a little bit about education and youth. The one thing we have in the city, we have at least 85% of the population of